Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Anna and I'm a manifestation coach. On this channel I'm teaching the law of assumption as taught by Neville Goddard. So if that's what you were looking for, you are in the right place. In this video I'm going to answer the questions that I received in the comments of the last video. If you happen to see this too late, don't worry, I am going to make more of these. So make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss that. And if you happen to resonate with my way of teaching the law of assumption and you need any additional help with your manifestations, I do offer one-on-one coaching. The link is in the description box below. So I am going to read the comments one by one and answer them and then go to the next. And let's just jump in then. So the first one says, is it possible to manifest an SP who doesn't know me and live in another side of the world? Yes, it is absolutely possible. Your mind knows how to solve the distance and the not knowing, so don't worry. Just usually, in any case, whatever you are manifesting, make sure to not get into the house of the house in... not as in a house, but in plural. Anyway, how it's going to happen, because you'll never figure it out. So, and that's not your job. And that usually keeps a lot of people away from their manifestation. So, and complicates things. It's not your job to focus on the how. And yes, it is possible if your SP doesn't know you and lives on a different planet. Your mind knows how to make it happen. Next question. Can you give examples of how to effectively write affirmations that can imply having the desire already or improve faster movement on how we make those affirmations? Thank you in advance for your help. You're very welcome. This is actually a very important question, but also a very simple one to understand. So the way you find out the right affirmation is, for example, what do I want? I want to receive an X amount of money every single month. Or I want to be in this type of relationship with my SP. Or I want to be healthy. So you take your desire and you formulate it in a phrase in present tense as if it's already done. I am healthy. My body is healthy. SP and I are in a committed, loving relationship. I am successful. I am wealthy and successful. I make this amount of money every single day. And as for movement, since it's I'm not sure this is exactly what you're asking, but I'm going to say it anyway. A lot of people, when they start manifesting, they check the 3D to see if anything happened, and then if nothing happened, they go into this state of mind of nothing is happening, it's not moving, why is it not moving, why is it not moving? And then all of a sudden you realize that that's all you've been thinking about, that it's not moving. That's as much an affirmation as I make $1 million. So, and your mind is going to give it to you. So whenever you catch yourself focusing on movement and that it's not moving, literally affirm that it is moving. It's helpful. It is moving. Of course it's moving. I'm seeing a lot of movement in the 3D. It's happening. I know it. I see it, even if you don't. Because guess what? Your mind, your subconscious mind, which is the part of your mind that is manifesting, doesn't know anything other than what you are telling it. So you might as well tell it that it's moving and it's already here. So that is how you make affirmations. You state your desire in present tense as if it has already happened. And by the way, I'm so glad I remembered to mention this. When it's a one-time thing that you are manifesting, like for example, you borrowed someone money and it's being too late. Like they're not moving, the money is still not coming back to you, etc. Those one-time things, for example, marriage. You are manifesting marriage with your SP. This is a one-time thing. You're not going to get married every day with the same person, right? Or with any other person. You affirm these things. Now, this is just a suggestion. It's because there's a reason. But anyway, you affirm these things in past tense as if it has already happened. And I was going to explain what I meant with there's a reason, anyway, etc. You affirm one-time manifestations in past tense because, again, your subconscious mind manifests what you make it believe that it's true. It has already happened. I am receiving money, X amount of money every month is not a one-time thing. It's an ongoing thing. My SP is in love with me is not a one-time thing. It's an everyday thing. But I received this money back that my friend borrowed from me is a one-time thing. So I received it. You see the point. So if it's a one-time thing, I prefer to affirm it in past tense because it just gets you in the state of it has already happened. I have it. Otherwise, present tense, as if it's true. Next question. Can someone who is already married to a loving and caring person manifest another person to fall in love with them or marry them? If yes, this raises a question that how would you define morals and ethics according to this law? Wouldn't it be otherwise an inhumane behavior with the partner who is loving and caring? How would the law define such situations? The law is operating from your assumptions. So if you are assuming that it's an inhumane behavior and immoral and this is bad, then that is exactly what you are going to manifest. You could create the story that this is good for everyone. Now you are having the story that this person is married and in love. I'm not sure you even know this because maybe you're making assumptions that you... I'm also making assumptions, but this is a question for you. Do you actually know or are you making assumptions, first of all? Second of all, you are going to manifest whatever you assume. So you can either manifest having your SP and that being really bad for the other person, or you can manifest your SP and the other person being even happier that they got rid of them. Rough examples, but that's how the law works. And ethics and morals and stuff like that in a situation like this is really man-made because if you think that this situation wasn't your manifestation, you need to learn the law because you are manifesting this. This is your manifestation in your reality, and the other versions of the situation are also your manifestations. So you can't not manifest a version of your SP. You can't not manifest anything that you experience. So you either manifest your SP being happy with someone else, or you manifest your SP being happy with you. Both are your manifestations. The only thing that the law claims, or I would maybe say the big teachers that, for example, Neville Goddard and other teachers that I have studied teach as something important is to never try to specifically hurt someone because it's manifesting through your thoughts. So your thoughts are going to come back to you. So it's going to be whatever you manifest is going to be your experience as well. So if you make sure you don't hurt anyone, which in this case, the solution could be that your SP is happy with you and the other person is even happier somewhere else. that is also an option. So this is how the law deals with stuff like this. So if you continue with the story that your SP is happily married to someone else, that's what you get. And again, if you also continue with the story that if you manifest them, that's going to be horrible for the other person, that's what you manifest for the other person. Or you can manifest that your SP is happy with you and the other person is so happy that you got that person because any reason, doesn't matter. Go to the end. So, next question. I literally searched your channel to ask you a question and you so happened to have posted this. My question is how to get permanent results in an effortless way. I have manifested something I wanted and must have fallen out of the state. My proposed plan is to visualize revised memories 3 times per day, 10 minutes each, or something like this. I won't be surprised if this works, but I also won't be surprised if I stop visualizing and 3D goes back to the old way. So how to create that permanent, effortless change? So the techniques that you do is completely up to you. With my clients, I always choose techniques that resonate with them. So some people are really happy to do revision. Other people just don't want to hear about it. Some people love visualizing. Other people claim they can't visualize. So, and just because you can't visualize or you don't want to do one technique doesn't mean you can't manifest. Of course you can. There are other things that your mind is good at, and that is what you do to manifest. So that's about the techniques. I can, like, right off the bat, think of 2 reasons why manifestation doesn't stay. The simplest one is, I'm speaking of experience in this one, my own experience. When you do whatever technique you do to manifest, in this case, I remember I was affirming. Things started moving and I thought, this is done. Well, knowing that it wasn't exactly true, but I was literally being lazy, to be honest. I was manifesting other things also that at the time were more important. I thought, oh God, fine, awesome, this is done. It wasn't. As soon as I stopped affirming, it just stopped. And then I would recognize what I've done and then start affirming again and it would start moving again. The reason is when you stop before it's impressed on your subconscious mind, whatever is currently impressed on your subconscious mind is going to manifest in your reality. So if you stop before it's done, that is one reason why it doesn't stay. So when the way you know if it is done is you are in that state. It's not like pretend done. A little bit, oh yeah, it's done, fine, just like I did. It's knowing. There's an inner knowing and there's calmness about it. You don't stress out, you don't worry, you don't have questions like, oh, what if this, what if that? You are completely in that state of manifestation is mine. Another thing that I see a lot with especially clients who are manifesting an SP, and this has been the case for probably all, I think almost all, at least. I don't remember a case where this wasn't, or someone where this wasn't the case, where the general story is I manifested my SP, we met, everything was so wonderful, in the beginning everything was perfect, they were my dream person, etc. And then problems start happening and now we're not together anymore. Usually there is another limiting belief that starts manifesting. And most of the time, if it's not every single time, it's self-concept. This is why I think it's so risky for people to ignore self-concept. When people say, oh, You don't need self-concept to manifest your SP. Yeah, you don't. You can manifest your relationship without focusing on self-concept, without doing any self-concept in the sense of self-worth or other things. Everyone is dealing with different type of self-concept. You can manifest your SP without doing any of that, but just know that your current self-concept is going to manifest with your SP also. So if you are manifesting, now again, I don't think you say what you are manifesting, but this is just such a clear example, and I know a lot of people are manifesting an SP. So if you are manifesting your SP and you have other limiting beliefs about yourself, those are going to manifest at some point. And that is why your results may seem not so permanent. So it's a bit risky to ignore limiting beliefs, other limiting beliefs. And I hope this helps. Otherwise, go to the end, persist in the end, and try to pay attention to what your mind is bringing up, because all your limiting beliefs are there. So that's. I hope this was helpful, because I know it can be annoying. You manifest something and then it doesn't stay. Also, you never ever stop manifesting. You can't just manifest, for example, again, a relationship or a job, etc., and then problems arise and you ignore that because you already manifested the job. You're continuously manifesting. So, next question. Do we need to repeat umbrella affirmations on loop? Isn't it wonderful? I remember when, etc. Thank you. Not necessarily. Depends on what you are manifesting. This question is as general as the umbrella affirmations. But no, I personally don't always do this. I do this whenever I think it fits in my current manifestations, or if I'm in the mood. No, not necessarily. The short answer, again, depending on, I have no idea what you are manifesting, but no, you can just manifest your specific desires. Sometimes specific desires are very general, like, for example, I am healthy. That can be a lot of things. I am, or maybe not, or I am wealthy. I am successful. I am successful is a very specific thing, but it can be a million different things. But I hope this answered your question. So, next question. Can you talk about how to approach practicing? I've been trying various methods to manifest small things to develop my skills. Sometimes I see or receive the thing, but the more I focus on it, it seems like the less likely it is to appear. I've been studying and reading for years, but I feel like I really need to go all the way back to the very, very basics. Thank you. Great idea. Basics are the foolproof method. Every time, like even someone who is very experienced can overcomplicate things, because the more experience you get, the more I don't know. No, this doesn't always happen, but I know that I know that when you think you're so good at manifesting, you have a lot of experience, a lot of confidence, etc. The basics seems too simple, and so you want to do something more complicated, but it's just not needed, even to manifest the most complicated things. The simpler, the better. And I'm thinking, I genuinely don't understand this. The more you focus on it, the further, the less likely it is to appear. You have to be focusing on something that is not it. because the more you focus on something, the more it gets into your mind and the more it manifests. So I really need to ask you to figure out what exactly you're focusing on. Are you actually focusing on having the desire or actually not having the desire? Are you focused on your current 3D circumstances? Are you focused on any other problem within this manifestation? Because the more you focus on something, the more it gets into your mind. The more it impresses your subconscious, the more it becomes a programming. Put it however you like. So I think you're focusing on something else. And don't worry, you know, a lot of people don't realize that. I might have mentioned this in other videos, that a lot of people are imagining things as they are, as opposed to imagining things as they want them to be. So you need to figure out what exactly you're focusing on. Next question. How do we recreate ourselves? Like a 180 life change, 180 degrees life change in every area. You know, health is number one for me. What would you do if this is what you wanted? Any and all methods and ideas you share are appreciated. How do you know you have successfully made your new assumption dominant? What does it feel like? Also, would you share with us some things you have manifested and how you did it for each? If not too personal, of course, just for fun. Thank you, Anna. Love all your videos and these Q&As are so nice. You are so welcome. Thank you for your question. And I'll go one by one here. A complete change. If you have like everything you want to change, I am thinking of two ways you can go about it. One is you simply take one thing at a time and you just manifest one thing at a time. You manifest your health, then you manifest your relationship, then you manifest your career or whatever you're manifesting one by one. Or you do the hardcore Neville Goddard way and you go to the end. So you ask this question to yourself. Let's say I am this new person, completely changed, completely new person. I have everything I wanted. Everything has already manifested. How do I feel? What do I think? What do I do? How do I live my life? Where am I living? And start contemplating on those things. Now, at first, you may get no answer. Maybe you have no idea what you would be thinking, feeling, etc. But keep going back to this thought. I have already manifested my life completely. Who am I? How am I? That's one thing. How do you know you have successfully made your new assumption dominant? What does it feel like? It feels like truth. It feels like literal truth. And your dominant thoughts are the ones that are on autopilot. You will notice that when you are not doing your techniques, you are thinking the same thoughts as in your affirmations, as in your visualizations, as in your inner conversations, or some very similar thoughts. Not on purpose. It just comes up on its own. This is how you know that it's already dominant. But otherwise, it feels like truth, and like you don't even want to continue affirming it or imagining it, because why would you imagine something that you already have? It feels something like that. And to share some of my own manifestations and how I did it, I will keep this one for the end of the video. So if you want to hear about my own manifestations, I will tell you about a couple that I manifested and exactly how I did it. So so make sure to stay tuned to the end, and I will keep my own story for after I have answered every question. So next question. If we are working on different manifestations, say money, health, and relocation, do we address these topics in one sitting every time we meditate or when doing mental diet? Or does every topic need to have its own separate imaginative story? I hope this makes sense. Thank you for all your videos. You are such a great teacher. Thank you very much, and thank you for being here and your question. So if you are asking if you need to create one affirmation that includes all of it, or one imaginal scene that includes all of it, I wouldn't recommend, because it makes it too complicated. And your mind would probably not be able to focus on all of it. And also because when you are imagining and also creating affirmations, my preferred method is short and simple, just like Neville Goddard would do. If you're creating an imaginal act, 5 to 10 seconds, not more than that. Even 10 seconds sometimes feels too long. An affirmation, one simple sentence, not complicated words, not complicated terms, just like you speak to your friend. So don't mix it all in one imaginal act, because again, you don't know which part will impress. So it's harder for your mind to focus on, have the same focus from start to end of a long imaginal act than it is to have a small, simple gesture or something that you repeat. Then you know that this is exactly what's impressing. Otherwise, if you are having different, like for example, you have your health affirmations, your money affirmations, your relocation affirmations, or imaginal acts, it's the same. This, or if you are asking if you need to do one, then next, then next, then next, and then get up and go about your day, or you need to do one in the morning, one in the evening, one in the afternoon, this depends on you. If you can sit and really you enjoy indulging in one imaginal act where you're relocating, and then the next where you are healthy, and then the next where you have a lot of money. If you can do that, that's awesome. Again, make sure to make these short and simple, because simply it's easier. And there's no need to make it complicated when the easy thing, the simple thing manifests just as well, if not better. If you can't do that, the first method I said is really good for people who are really structured. They love structure. They love to do things in a certain way. This would work for people like that. If you don't like structure, you're more of an improviser, then decide when you do what during your day. This is just two ways of doing the same thing. This is not going to mess up your manifestation. Do whichever is comfortable for you. But keep every manifestation in a separate story. So don't manifest health and wealth in the same imaginal act. It will still manifest. But it will just make the manifestation itself complicated, and you focusing on it also complicated. So keep it simple and keep it separate. But if you want to do one thing after another in one sitting, or in different times during the day, that depends on what is more comfortable for you. So I hope I answered your question. Next question. How to deal with negative people that criticize the law of assumption, especially when sometimes we get doubts as well. I want to say you answered your question, but I'm going to say something different instead. I already said that. other people in your reality are you pushed out, and they are going to reflect your own doubts and fears back to you. And this is why you keep your manifestation to yourself. And this is why you talk about your manifestations with your coach. And if you have a friend who knows how manifestation works and they know how to keep you on track and help you with your mental diet, talk about it. If not, it is very much advised to keep your manifestations to yourself, because any assumption you have is going to be reflected back to you, especially and including your doubts, because when you're manifesting something that you don't already have, there's a big chance you have a lot of doubts about it. So, and people are going to reflect that back to you, and this is how everyone is you pushed out works. Another thing that you can do, apart from just not talking about your manifestations or even the law of assumption, is when you do and they are negative about it, instead of reacting and creating an argument, you revise on the spot. They say something, in your mind you turn it around and you hear something positive instead. And you need to keep doing this, just like you do the affirmations. You persist in it, and at some point that reprograms your mind, and they have to reflect that new programming back to you. So that is how you deal with negative people in the 3D, especially around manifestations and the law of assumptions and just everything. Revision on the spot works whether you're manifesting people to be positive about the law of assumption or you're manifesting your SP or money or whatever. Everyone is you pushed out. So, next question. How do I ignore 3D? I'm using affirmations for money and they are fixed in my mind, but I keep waiting to see the change and end up being disappointed. It seems like a cycle that I can't get out of. Thank you. You are keeping yourself in that cycle by checking the 3D. When you say I keep waiting to see the change, you just got out of that state where your affirmations had gotten you. If you affirm something and then you go to the 3D to see and wait and see if it has happened, you just contradicted your affirmations, saying, it's still not here, I'm seeing if it comes. It literally is saying that what I just affirmed is not true. So you are going back and forth in your mind. Every time you want to check the 3D, stop yourself. Every time you are noticing that you're in this waiting, when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? Stop yourself, go inside and affirm it has already happened. How would I be asking when is it going to happen and what am I waiting for if it's already here? Just like I said in my answer of the one of the earlier questions, go back and check that if you haven't. I genuinely don't remember which one it was, but it was in the beginning of the video. When you are in this state of it's not here, when is it coming, etc., literally affirm it is here. Of course it is here. Would I be asking where is it if I already had my manifestation? No. So if I'm asking, I'm not in the state. So you need to pay attention to when you're doing this so that you can get yourself out of the 3D and back into your mind. You ignore the 3D in your mind. You ignore the 3D by not dwelling on the 3D. That's how you ignore the 3D. You don't ignore the 3D in the 3D. In the 3D you do your things. It's just about not dwelling on it. So, next question. Can you do more videos on working on self and self-concept? I made so much progress, but feel this is my blockage and I like more guidance. I definitely will. Self-concept is one of my most important things. I'm really big on self-concept. I think it's very important. For all those of you who haven't yet seen my videos on self-concept, I have a playlist you can check out. Self-concept is important, to say the least. So yes, I will. Next question. How do we use Askfirmations? Do we need to answer them? How do they work? Thank you. I am not a big fan of Askfirmations. I don't know how they started. They probably started with Neville Goddard's Isn't It Wonderful? I only know about Askfirmations what I have heard. So I'm not sure it's good for me to answer this question at all, but the point of Askfirmations, for everyone who doesn't know, Askfirmation is the affirmation in question form. So instead of affirming my SP loves me, you affirm, why does my SP love me? I have tried back when it started becoming a trend. I thought, let me see if this actually works. If I ask myself, why do I make $1 million a month? I don't know. My mind will go, yeah, Anna, why do you make $1 million a month? It never worked for me. The point of it is that it should not create the resistance that affirmations create by stating as true. But resistance has its purpose in manifestation. I will make a video about resistance and how that's not your enemy. Resistance is not your enemy. But to keep this short for the sake of this video, do we need to answer them? No, you don't. That's not the point of Askfirmations. The point is just to repeat, why am I so lucky? Why am I so lucky? Instead of, I think the people came up with this to counteract the negative form of these Askfirmations. Like, why would my SP ever want someone like me who is this and this and this, and then you go down the negative road. So I never used Askfirmations to manifest. I never needed them. If it puts you in a better state, then the affirmations use it, but this is not necessary. I haven't found it necessary. Some people like it, but this is really up to you. And Anna, I was wondering if you could say something about self-discipline while manifesting. My days are very hectic and I forget about my mental diet and I forget to affirm. Oh God, I understand. Do you have any tips and tricks how to discipline ourselves? Thank you. You're welcome. This is such a great question. I am still planning to make a course on how to get your manifestation done, like literally a full day routine, even if you're completely busy. It can be done, but to keep it short, and I will make the course, I promise. I just have to get to that. Even if you're busy all day, mentally also, there are times you can affirm, and you have to. Take the classical Neville Goddard sats. If you do just that and you do it properly, I would dare to say that you might not need to do anything else. Again, speaking of experience, everything I teach on this channel are from my own experience, by the way, and everything I coach in my coaching sessions are also my own experience. So I will never come and tell you to do something that I haven't done myself and manifested with. So SATS is absolutely so powerful, genius method to manifest that if you do just that, and that you do when you are in bed and going to sleep. If because of your hectic day, you are tired and you just fall asleep very quickly, a good trick here is to lie down in a position that is uncomfortable for you to sleep in, if you have any. That is what I do if I'm too tired and I realize that I'm going to fall asleep very soon. So I lie down in a position that I can't fall asleep in. I have to roll over or do something else to fall asleep. In that way, you can get 5 minutes is enough for you to repeat a simple imaginal act or an affirmation. You will get, if you have, this is why I say keep it to 5 to 10 seconds. Can you imagine how many repetitions you will get in just 5 minutes of 5 second, 10-second imaginal act, or a phrase, a simple phrase that will take you, 3 to 5 seconds to think. Affirm. So, I'm sorry for the sound. So if you do just that, you will not... It's risky to say something like this in a video where a lot of people watch from different states and with different experiences, but if you do just that, you will have done a huge work. The same thing you can do in the morning when you wake up and you start preparing for your day. While you're making your coffee or breakfast in the morning, if you can, if you don't have children running around, etc. That is also a possibility, but just start small, start simple. Do your sets every night. That's a wonderful place to start. So that's that. And next question. Hey, I found you. Hi. My question is, does visualizing to the point that it feels real work better than strictly affirming for SP in a detached emotional way? I only ever got movement with my SP when I visualized and felt it real, but for the last 2 years I took a different approach and instead just affirmed all day or as much as I could, inspired to do so based on what other YouTube coaches are saying. I didn't feel any emotions at all and I got no movement after 2 years, and now I'm sick of it. I understand. Now I'm wondering if that teaching is a sham, as I only got movement through visualizing and conjuring up emotions. What are your thoughts on robotic affirming versus visualizing with feeling? You just answered your own question, and I think this is amazing. If you have, you haven't, of course, the person who is asking the question just said, hey, I found you, so you haven't watched my older videos. I don't like robotic affirmations or affirming robotically. I don't use it. I don't recommend it. I know it's a big thing on YouTube. I know a lot of people say it works, so it probably does. And a lot of people claim that they manifest affirming robotically, and they probably do. But I have a problem with it, and the problem is that I think it takes forever to manifest with robotic affirming, because you're not focused on it. Focusing on something does a lot, and it's not affirming that doesn't work. Affirming works. It's affirming with focus that works. When you affirm with focus, anyone who wants to try this, you can literally put this to the test. Affirm robotically for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then affirm with focus, really full focus, full attention on your affirmations. See how that changes your state. And it doesn't take 10 minutes to change the feeling state by just focusing on what you're affirming. And that makes everything go quicker. So, and visualizing is a wonderful tool. I love visualizing, and visualizing is really meant to get you into the state of experiencing it. It's not just visualizing it, it's experiencing it. Even with your affirmations, when you're really focusing on it, you're experiencing it. And that is what makes it move quicker. So absolutely 100% go back to what you were doing before. You're clearly good at it, and this is the problem with trends of manifestation on YouTube. That is all I have to say about it. Go back to doing what you were doing, because yes. So, next question. And I have one more question. How specific do we have to be while manifesting? For example, I want to manifest my own dream business. Do I need to add what kind of business with details or just affirm I have my own business? Thanks a lot again. You're very welcome. This depends on what you want. If you just want to have a dream business and you don't care what type of business manifests, as long as you're happy and making the money you want and feeling good in that business, you can be as generic as you want to. Like, for example, affirming that you have your dream business. But if there are specific things that are important to you to manifest, that specific type of business in that specific place, then be specific. I have had a client once, and this was her side manifestation. She came to me because she was manifesting an SP, and then during the time we were working on it, a few months in, she said, I want a job. She wanted a specific job in a specific place far from where she was living, with a specific salary and other specifics. Those were important to her. So we went really specific, and she manifested the exact job she was affirming and imagining. So depends on what's important to you. Both can be done, but when you keep it general, on one hand, you keep all the options open. On the other hand, if you want something very specific, that may not be the thing that manifests, but still it will be a dream job, because that is what you are, a dream career, dream business, sorry. So, again, depends on what you want to manifest. And the last question, I'm going to read this question and then I'm going to tell you about a few of my manifestations. Hello, Anna. A question about time. How long should a manifestation take on average, given that one is diligent and their mental diet and really focused on the end? I know it's a hot topic that can trigger many people, but I'm wondering what the rough average is in your experience. A couple of weeks or months seems not that long, in my opinion, especially when there is more resistance involved. However, 2 years, like in some Neville stories, seems a bit long, and I'm wondering if those people really had a good focus and mental diet. Thank you for your insight. I am actually wondering the same thing. With a diligent, living in the end, like doing everything that you are supposed to do. I know a lot of people talk about divine timing. 2 years with a good mental diet and living in the end, even to me, sounds a bit too much. And just because someone is in Neville's story doesn't mean that they didn't deal with resistance, that they didn't have opposing thoughts, that they never spiraled down, They probably did. Even Neville himself, in one of the lectures, said that he was explaining visualization and keeping your mind on one thing and looping it over and over. In that lecture, he said, my mind would wander and I would bring it back. And it was such a huge moment for me, because we read Neville, we think that he does everything, he always did everything perfectly, and he never had these problems where he couldn't concentrate, or his mind would wander, or he had opposing thoughts. That was such a wonderful moment for me, that like a confirmation that, I'm doing it correctly. Just because my mind wanders doesn't mean I'm a bad manifester. I just need to bring it back. And these are things that make me always say, just do the technical part, do your part. Your mind wanders, it's fine, bring it back. Stop judging yourself, stop making assumptions that you're not manifesting well, etc. Sorry, this was just a side note. I too think that if you are focusing on something really well, 2 years is I don't know, maybe in some cases, maybe it will, like, manifestations are so different, but if something is taking 2 years, I would start paying attention to, have I actually come to the part where I'm living in the end, or am I ignoring limiting beliefs? What is happening here? Because divine timing is when you impress something on your subconscious mind. Because if we know, and we know it because we can test it, that our imagination is God. God is your wonderful human imagination. Those are Neville's words. And there's nothing outside of our imagination that decides for us what we can or can't have. It's only dependent on what we are imagining. Then in the same way, there's nothing on the outside that decides when we should have it. I don't know if you were manifesting a whole change in the whole solar system or the galaxy, maybe I would think that it could take the 2 years for your infinite intelligent mind to I don't know. But again, I'm going back to the thought that we're manifesting through a power that is infinitely intelligent, knows everything, knows exactly how to bring it to you. And our human desires, every person I've ever talked with who is manifesting consciously, people are manifesting either an SP, better self-concept to feel good about themselves, house, money, careers, weight loss, health. Those are, if you again consider the fact that you're manifesting through an infinite intelligent God, those are very simple desires. And I know that a lot of time we put the label on, ooh, this is difficult because I'm manifesting $1 million, or my SP is too stubborn, etc. It's a very human thing. It's nothing for your mind to manifest. So I'm making this way too long, but I too think that if it's taking too long, for example, 2 years to manifest a house or money or weight loss or health or SP or whatever human thing you want, you need to check in with your focus, where your focus is most of the time. If you have limiting beliefs you're ignoring or not noticing, some self-concept related thing, or where's your focus basically? Because and let me continue answering this question by telling you about a few of my manifestations. I have had manifestations that took 2 years, 3 years to manifest, but it is because I wasn't focusing properly. I was going in and out of the state, going back and forth with my story. So obviously it had to take a few years to manifest. And I know that on me. I wasn't focusing. But let me tell you about a few things that I manifested so quickly. And this, I hope a lot of you made to the end, to this part, made it to this part, because this is also going to answer a few of the earlier questions a bit better. Whenever I have had full focus on something, it has manifested like this, even with resistance. Because we often label ourselves, I have too much resistance, I can't manifest, this is going to take such a long time because I have this old story that I've believed in for 20 years. Your mind doesn't care. If you can manage to focus on your new story properly, your mind is not going to go, you know what, I'm going to take my time because you have been focusing on it, on the opposite thing for too long. Your mind doesn't care. Wherever your focus is, that's where your reality is also. I once manifested, this is probably going to sound a bit crazy for people who don't believe, but it's going to be very helpful for others of you who really have doubts if your manifestation can happen, or anyway, it was a long time ago and I was still learning, and I was still in the place of, is this actually true? Can we actually manifest everything? So I manifested a complete change in the weather. Manifesting weather. Have you ever tried? I've done it twice consciously, because first of all, this is a completely useless manifestation, because I don't need to keep manifesting the weather. It doesn't matter. But I was really trying to see if this works, and I was going somewhere. I was in a bus. It was raining. It had been raining for days. Gray, non-stop rain. And where I was, if it could be raining like that for 2 weeks, for 3 weeks, for a month. And it's normal. Like, for example, if there anyone from, for example, I'm not going to say it. Anyway, there are people who live in countries where it's raining all year. And I had maybe 10 minutes in the bus from when I thought of manifesting to when I was going to get out of the bus. I thought, let me see if this works. Like, what do I have to lose? Let me just imagine. So as I was even standing up, and this is showing you that there are really not much requirements to manifest other than just to focus. I was standing up in a bus. I closed my eyes and I visualized myself walking out of the bus, and there was sunshine. And there was no way, it wasn't looking like sunshine was about to happen anytime soon at all. I thought, again, what do I have to lose? I kept imagining this very short scene. I was seeing my own feet walking out of the bus, and there was sunshine. And then I was repeating the same scene over and over as I was in the bus. So what I do here is I close my eyes and shut off everything. And when you don't have time, you have just 10 minutes to manifest this. You force yourself to focus. If you have to force yourself to focus, do it. Force is not the best word to use in manifestation, but sometimes it's like, it works. You just focus and you just do it. And while visualizing it, you are in it. You make sure that you're experiencing it. It's not just something you see, it's something you experience. Do it to the best of your abilities. And I opened my eyes, it was still raining the same way. Gray, rain, wind. I thought, okay, never mind then. Then I thought, okay, let me just do this one more time. What do I have to lose? So I did the same process, closed my eyes, shut off everything very quickly, focused as much as I could, imagined the same scene to the point that it felt like an experience, like a real experience. I was walking out of the bus and there was sunshine. And I opened my eyes, it was still raining. I thought, okay, whatever. Yeah, fine. I didn't lose anything. Fine. A few minutes later, the bus stops. I walk out and I just went wherever I was going. And I had been walking probably for a minute when I realized that it was sunshine. The rain had stopped. The sun was out. Exactly as I was manifesting, as I had imagined that in that moment that I walked out of the bus, it was sunshine. Crazy manifestation. This has been one of the craziest manifestations I have had. Also one of the most useless, but very useful in the sense that after seeing that, I thought to myself, wow, what else can I do? And then I have also manifested snow on a specific date. Same way. So my biggest advice is to focus. I have the quickest manifestations have come when I have had my focus on the right story and not wavered, not questioned, etc. If you can, I mean, it's easier for me to sit here and say, oh, just ignore the old story. I know it comes up, and therefore there are techniques to shift focus, change the thought, etc. But the times where you don't give yourself a chance to think other things other than your wish fulfilled, then your mind just doesn't have any other thing to manifest than that. I have manifested things I have lost. I will make a video of specifically two things that I have manifested so many things that I lost and then I manifested them back. But I remember two things in particular that manifested in such a weird way that it shouldn't have happened that way. I still don't understand how it was possible, but this video is going to be too long if I also talk about other manifestations, but stay tuned for that video, because this just shows you that everything is possible. Even the impossible is possible. And therefore, manifesting your SP and manifesting your house and career and health, etc., your mind knows how to do it. If your mind knows how to manifest sunshine for a whole town, it knows how to manifest one single SP, trust me. So I hope I answered all the questions, and just to repeat, I feel like I want to repeat this. My longest manifestations, those that have taken longest, have been those where I haven't kept my focus. This to say that if your manifestation is not coming, it's not because it's not manifestable. It's not because your SP is stubborn, or it's hard to make money, or you can't lose weight, etc. It's simply because you are wavering back and forth. This was it for today. I really, really hope that this was helpful. And if you resonated, subscribe and stay tuned for more. If you happen to need any additional help with your manifestations, I do offer one-on-one coaching. The link is in the description box below, and see you in the next video.